Yeah, man. All right. Hello, greetings, and welcome everyone to this second episode in our podcast. I am Jeff Livingston. We are here with Malcolm Jessup,
What's
the
going on, everybody?
absolute car guru, man. I don't know how he accumulated so much car knowledge, man. It's wacky.
I mean, you see the Hot Wheel walls, man. I live and breathe cars, or
Very
anything that has a two or four stroke combustion.
fair enough, man. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and talk about some of the things that I did not talk about in my news video for whatever reason. There's a whole bunch of news that happens. I talk about the overall topical stuff that affects the company that I'm following right now, Aptera. This segment is specifically for the stuff that I miss in that video. So, yeah, getting right into the first topic here because I have been uh, thinking about this for some time, but there's
What's
like
that?
a real chance that Ford loses out on making the F-150 Lightning. And I I have mixed feelings about it. Like in my head, I know that ripping the guts out of a gas car and putting a battery in the bottom is not the way to go because it's not profitable. It takes more engineering for a platform that you already have established for a completely different drivetrain, and you have to deal with the fact that it's heavier and less efficient and tows for less distance and that kind of stuff. In my opinion, the F-150 Lightning was always kind of a gamble because of the way that they decided to go about it, but now it's just kind of an official, well, not official channels, but kind of official channels, like people reporting on it, finding out stuff from insiders that this could end up being the end of the F-150 Lightning just for sales alone.
Yeah. And Jeff, one thing that we're looking at as well too is that overall, ever since the Trump administration killed the EV credits, what we were just discussing over a little bit earlier was that the sales numbers came out for going into the fourth quarter at the end of the third quarter.
Yep.
Those sales credits ended September 29th.
Yes.
Um, as the calendar flipped over to October, that's when they officially expired. There was a big surge of EV sales across the board in the U.S. for all brands that sell EVs. I think it was up 51%. And then I'm betting that if we see October sales afterwards, they're probably minuscule to almost. I mean, not non-existent, but very minuscule in comparison. The problem we have right now, I mean, yes, I do agree that creating a platform that is ice centric, which is the tremendous F 150, America's number one selling car,
Hmm.
period, or vehicle, period, I should say.
Right.
And then kind of retrofitting. I mean, the platform is the same platform with subtle differences and changes here and there. The F 150, let's put it like this: when I'm driving down the road, the way I know I'm looking at F 150 Lightning before I see the badge is that I see the independent rear suspension. Now, a lot of truck people will tell you that, independent rear suspension feels nice, it's a better comfort your ride. But when you actually buy a pickup truck to tow things,
Mm.
a live rear axle, a solid rear axle is what you want to use because um, any person worth his grain of salt who knows physics or basic engineering knows that a solid axle, a more linear transfer of torque, is more desirable to get your torque numbers out in terms of towing.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons why you see with even more how do I want to say you see it more with people like Rivian or Tesla who designed their trucks from the ground up to
Hmm.
be able to tow. They still don't have the towing capacity, even though electric has more torque output and more of a continuous torque output
Hmm.
uh, compared to a gas. Um, the torque numbers just aren't there in terms of what you can tow with a gas or diesel because of that live axle. Now they've actually shown, Jeff. I don't know if we've talked about this.
Oh.
There is there is a truck, a semi truck specific company I forgot what they're called. They're kind of based out of Canada, and they're really experimenting with making like regular looking semi trucks that that basically they look like regular Peterbilt trucks, but instead of gas motors or diesel, they're electric. But they keep the same drivetrain
Hmm.
of solid, it's like solid torque tube going to solid rear axles.
Hmm.
And because truck because of the size of trucks and their hauling capacity, you can stick a ginormous battery on there and then still have the ability to tow. So
Right. Oh, by
I
the way, the
saw
company you're talking about is Edison, because
that's it. That's it. I knew it was something like Tesla, but not. It's Edison.
yeah,
Yes, Edison. I watched a lot of their videos. Um, Interesting products. I want to see how they more compare or contend with Tesla's cyber, like the actual cyber semi truck.
right,
Because the cyber semi truck is more clearly more aerodynamic, but Edison is more so banking on the fact that, well, we're trying to get last mile in or certain trucking routes that don't really require aerodynamics. Like their focus has been in the logging industry,
right.
where I mean you're more so taking logs from the forest site and bringing them over to the processing site, which I mean at most is
A few miles.
like 50-ish miles
Yeah.
maybe. And they've actually been seeing really a lot of good numbers with that. But I digress. Let me get back to the point. The point is platforms that are designed ICE first, electric second, don't really do well. And another good example, probably the best example, is when you look at what's going on at Stellantis, aka
Ah.
Dodge and Chrysler,
Hmm.
with all those electric chargers sitting on the lot. Like nobody wanted. This is how bad this was. Nobody wanted them when the tax credit existed.
Hmm.
Now they're sitting on the lot, and definitely nobody wants to get them if they're not getting a $7,000 to $8,000 tax credit on. They're sitting there doing nothing. Meanwhile, uh, after Stellantis got rid of their old CEO and the other CEO came back and said, "Hey, he admitted, so yeah, we effed up. We're putting the Hemi back." They literally took the old Hemi, just like, okay, we gotta just retune it for the new ECU, slapped it right back in there, along with the more economically tuned Hurricane Turbo Hurricane Turbo V6. No, Hurricane Turbo Inline Six
Hmm.
and the Hurricane naturally aspirated V6. I mean, inline sixes. And these inline sixes are making, I think, anywhere from 480 to 600 horsepower. Let me fact check myself on that. Let's see.
Hmm.
Hurricane
Sidebar. The fact that
i6.
there's so much like there's such a pronounced demand vacuum for cars that are specifically made to act like a gas car, but they do it in a weird way is
Yeah,
interesting to me. Like I wonder how that psychological component works in because I know that people are like, oh, I like power, I like horsepower, but the sound is another aspect of that. And I
exactly.
remember the sound that they had for the
The
for
Charger.
the yeah the it when it came out in
The Fret Sonic
yeah
speaker system
I
that's
don't even
supposed to emulate a Hemi, 392 Hemi's
yeah so I
engine
didn't even
roar, and it sounds
it
terrible.
sounds so weird. I didn't even bother to memorize the name. You just said the name off. I'm like, that sounds like a name that might have been
Yeah,
called.
no, that
Yeah.
was the most popular
Yeah.
one. Like other EVs do, like a well per North American Highway Safety and Traffic Administration, uh, EVs have to make a sound for the visually impaired.
Right, right,
That's a
right.
requirement. Chrysler just went and was like, okay, well, these blind people won't know this. We'll make it sound. We'll put speakers on there and make it sound like a Hemi, and
Mm.
it sounds terrible.
Sounds weird. Like I don't even necessarily think it sounds bad per se. It just sounds weird. Like if they hadn't said we were trying to mimic this Hemi engine and they had just let it ride and let that sound be the sound, I would have been like, a little weird, but I can get used to it. But when they I noticed this like weird connection with people when you try to make it a thing that it's not, and they notice
Yeah.
it, they pick up on it. Like there was, oh, what was it? There was a movie that we saw one time that was supposed to be the new version of this movie, and it
Hmm.
was
What movie was that?
I can't remember. It was some time ago. We were at Monaco and we were seeing this movie and the movie was supposed to be the next chapter or something like a reboot or a rehash of some movie franchise. And I
What
remember
movie
coming out of
is
that, huh? Yeah, I can't remember. It's I know it's gonna come to me at like 2 o'clock in
it?
the morning to when I'm going to like when I wake up and go to sleep and whatever. But
Put like this. Just put it down below when you remember it. It's like, oh,
there we
hashtag.
go.
The movie
Oh
I'm trying to think of was this.
Right, right, right. So I remember walking out of that movie thinking if they had called this anything else but that name, it would have been
Oh,
fine.
wait a minute. I think I know what you're talking about now. Because yes, I remember you said that.
Yet I say that
Oh,
fairly often,
oh,
actually,
I know
but
what you're talking about, and I can't remember the
um,
movie because I agreed 100% with you. It's like it was a good movie if it was not trying to be this, but
right.
because it was trying to be this, it was terrible.
Hmm.
Oh man, I remember that now, and I can't. I think my it was so bad I just blotted it out of my
The
memory.
same thing I did because I was like, this movie would you it was maybe a 6 or a 7 without calling itself that title, but they called it that title, and it was so far disconnected from the franchise that it was supposed to be part of that I was like, nah, this is four. Like this is a four territory just because you call it
Yeah,
this.
I
I
can't think of
can't think of the
I can't think
name.
of the name.
Yeah, but
But
anyway,
well,
I
I wanted to
wonder.
say the Hurricane Inline Six,
Hmm.
which I've talked to some of my friends at who work at Chrysler, who Sharice and I went to school with, who are
Hmm.
engineers up there. They kind of told me that well, the inline six that they're using is a technically a spiritual official successor to the
Hmm.
old inline six that American Motors Corporation used to make right when Chrysler bought them in the 80s. Because
Really?
you look at the out if you look at it, it's like, this looks if you're old enough like me, well actually we wouldn't fall into that age range. It would
But
be
they were,
The Gen Xers.
yeah,
If Gen Xers look at it, they're like, I've seen this motor before.
right,
Somewhere in my memory a long time ago. It's the American Motors Corporation's inline six. So if
right,
AMC still existed, that motor would be going to an AMX Gremlin or
right,
what.
right, right, right,
That motor naturally aspirated, which is impressive for an inline six, makes 420 horsepower and 469 pounds-feet of torque. And the turbo version makes 540 and 521 pounds-feet of torque. So it's impressive
Hmm.
numbers. And then, of course, you go to the Hemi. Now, granted, when Chrysler came out with the high output version, championing it within the Charger. They're like,
Hmm.
well, yeah, the gas motor makes this, but you're still getting way more horsepower and torque with the electric. They tried to build the electric like, hey, here's your cake at the gas side, but here's
Hmm.
where you can eat it too. You can still have a Charger, and it's even faster, and it's got an electric motor. But I was
Right,
like, it. Everybody I talked to who drove it was like, it's quick, it's zippy,
right.
but there's driving those kind of electric vehicles and then driving a gas vehicle. People tell like the best way you can feel how a car puts is your butt dyno.
Yeah.
Your butt dyno will ultimately tell you how you like feeling power delivery. If
Hmm.
you're in a Charger or you're in an F-150 or you're in certain gas centric vehicles first, your mind is telling you acceleration should feel this way.
Hmm.
When the electric delivery hits you, you're like, I don't feel right. The best way I can give it to you is my girlfriend Rashay gives me CMOS. Jeff, you ever taken CMOS?
I have not taken CMOS.
It's supposed to be, it's the new black people superfood like white kale is to white people. It's got all the minerals. You're supposed to have so many minerals per day. This has like even more. And
Hmm.
it really does help. But the way my girlfriend makes it is You have to take it's like a veiny white root. Well, that you
Hmm.
bleach it white with the sun, and then you chop it up. You're supposed to process it down in a blender, and then mix it with a little bit of lime juice to make it more palatable. It's it has almost pretty much virtually no taste. It has no taste at all. But the consistency, the look, and the mouth feel looks like freaking applesauce.
Really?
So you put it in your mouth, your the sensation, the touch sensation in your mouth is telling your brain applesauce, applesauce,
Sure.
applesauce. Your taste sensation on your tongue is like, this isn't applesauce. This is what no, what is this?
Right.
Whatever this is also has a hint of lime. Every time I eat that, it's supposed to take 2 tablespoons a day. I
Hmm.
have to drink it with water because if I try to put it in my mouth and swallow it, my mind, I immediately want to throw it back up because what it is not consistent with what it feels and tastes like. My
Yeah.
mind keeps thinking I'm putting applesauce in my mouth, and my taste buds keep telling my mind, no, Negro, this ain't applesauce.
Right,
This
right,
ain't
right.
applesauce. Get it out right now. I always have a immediate vomit sensation. And I think I use that analogy to say that's probably what we're seeing here with these kind of EVs.
Mm.
Your butt dyno in your mind is telling you, I'm expecting one thing and I'm getting another. And so there's a confusion up here of like, this doesn't feel right. This isn't
Yeah,
right. Versus when you
precisely.
have a platform from the ground up, your expectations going in is this what this is? This is what it is. I understand what this is because it's not this. I can
Hmm.
go in with a clear understanding and a fresh slate of what I'm to expect because I'm not expecting something else.
Yep. So the thing about that, I talked about that disconnect a long time ago. Like
You
when
did.
the first EVs were starting to come to market, I was like, oh, okay, EVs are cool. They stand alone. They can do their thing so long as they remain they have a certain characteristic to them.
Je ne
EVs
sais
are
quoi.
yeah, they have their own feel. And once you try to make that feel similar to a gas car, unless
Doesn't
you
work.
a wizard like Hyundai was with the what was that thing called? Um the five something five. Let me
Mhm.
look it up. There's only been one company that I've seen so far that has done it right to the point where people let's see. There we go. So the Ionic 5 is a
Yes.
car that I remember people actually reviewing it and saying this electric car is so weird and uncanny valley that we like this about as much as any other car had that has ever been built. So
Yep, I remember that. I remember that.
outside of really crazy, uh, well done examples like that, the engineering team must have spent years, maybe even a decade, refining just how a gas car feels and putting it into an EV. But it's outside of those circumstances, uh, putting your EV through the paces of trying to make it act like a gas car is fruitless. It doesn't make any sense. So
Exactly.
yeah, I think it's just important to have those EVs stand on their own. EVs have their strengths, just like
They
gas
do.
cars have their strengths. Most of those strengths in the gas car category are emotional. Uh,
Hmm.
most of the features that are outstanding in EVs are more mental. So I know that an EV is more efficient. I know that the EV is using less energy. I know that I'm going to spend less money fueling the thing and that kind of stuff. It's going to be an overall better experience. I know that. But when I feel a a V8 off the line moving and jerking and loud noises and all that kind of stuff, that is very exciting. It's exhilarating. And so those
They
things,
actually show it's testosterone boosting. They've actually
yeah,
done studies
I
on that
talked about
for
that
both
last
men and
time.
women that a rumble of a V8 actually increases testosterone.
Exactly. And so there's a disconnect. And so once you try to bridge that gap, it just ends up
It doesn't
coming off
work.
weird. So yeah,
Because your
yeah.
brain is confused. You can't confuse. It's oh, there was somebody who did like stimulate the senses thing outside of five gum. But
Hmm.
you're right. You can't confuse the senses when it comes to what you experience. It's one of the
Exactly.
reasons why, like, even me being a motorcycle guy, Harley Davidson tried with the live wire, and from what I watched with um a lot of motorcycle reviewists, they first and foremost had to put themselves in the mentality that this was not a gas bike. This is not an ice bike. It was an electric bike.
Yep.
And they said once they got past that, and they also thanked Harley that they didn't make the bike look like a classic Harley. They made it look like some kind of weird,
Future space thing.
not futuristic, but you remember Flynn's son in Tron Legacy?
Yeah, his bike, what was it? The Ducati thing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They made it look like an electric Ducati, kind of.
Okay.
Like it looked like it would be it that bike looked like it would be in that kind of movie.
Exactly.
So when you got on it, you had the expectations of this is an electric bike.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, where Harley Davidson messed up is the fact that Harley Davidson is in of itself the brand Harley Davidson. It's people hate when Harley Davidson does non-Harley Davidson things.
Right.
So the bike was a terrible sales flop because motorcycles like Harley Davidson electric bikes. Uh, what?
Say
And then
what?
I could do the mean face like,
I don't like
no, no,
that.
this is not what this is. No, we're not here for no Harley Davidson electric bike. We're here for the vibrate till my molars fall out
Yeah.
ass bike. That's what we're here for. Get
Right.
that ish out of here.
Yep. That's so all of that to say, keep your identity electric vehicle people. Build
Of
for
course.
your drivetrain, which I feel like should be obvious, but Ford with the F-150 has had to learn the hard way. Maybe pulling out the guts and throwing something else in there.
I think they could have done better because, and I hate to go back to this because I hate the vehicle I'm about to bring up,
Oh
the
no.
Mustang Mach-E.
Okay.
I mean, I hate it because they call it a Mustang and it's not a freaking Mustang. And
It's a cool motor.
I swear to God, I will pimp smack Mary Barrera if she pulls out a electric four-door Camaro. I will rent my clothes like the Bible says and put myself in sackcloth and ashes if General Motors does that. Car guys hate the Mustang Mach-E because it presents itself as a Mustang. But what I will give for it is that that is a platform from the ground up electric vehicle,
That's
and
true.
I hate it, but it sells.
And it's solid. Like I've
It's
actually
solid.
ridden in one before.
Uh, like it's a good car. It's just the worst thing you could call it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. That
I,
whole assessment was
they probably would have. To be honest, and I told a Ford person this at a dealership, and he agreed with me. I was like, to be honest, you guys could have stopped selling the Fusion and made this the new Fusion.
yeah.
It's Fusion, fission,
Yeah.
electric, nuclear power. Like, that would have been so much better to
Hmm.
call it that than a Mustang.
I agree wholeheartedly because I hadn't thought about that before, but as soon as you mentioned the fusion, I'm like, oh, yeah,
Yes.
yes.
It's like it's so obvious you want to slap people with like bolts of clarity. Like, why
Yeah,
didn't you
yeah,
think
yeah.
of that? So yeah,
Yeah.
no. As much as I hate what it is, I mean what it's called, I don't hate what it is.
Right.
Ford, that is a platform from the ground up electric vehicle that actually works. It does what it needs to do. The expectation is there. It sells moderately well. Like I said, it still would sell
Yeah.
well if it wasn't called the Mustang. But that, like I said, they just changed the name. I bet they'd be selling a lot more.
Absolutely. All
Yeah.
right. So
So
Nissan,
what's the next one we got?
Nissan selling their factory.
No,
Um
their
their
headquarters.
headquarters, sorry. Okay. When I first heard about this, it reminded me of my situation in college. I don't know if you remember when we bought 120 and then we rented it out to our tenants who will remain nameless.
Yes, I remember.
The reason why they were going to live in our house was to eventually purchase it.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
this feels like the exact opposite of that. Nissan sold their headquarters because they couldn't afford rent. There was some bean counter was sitting in their office and said, "This is how we save the company." I,
You actually see a lot of companies do that. That's
Mhm.
not a weird, it's not an uncommon move, but it is a move. It's more so a move of desperation. What it
Right.
tells Wall Street is that you're trying to figure out, you're trying to squeeze out every penny that you can. I mean, get
Hmm.
put like this. In a better case scenario, when Alan Mulally took over Ford back in, I think, 2003, right when things kind of looked a little weird.
Mm.
Um, this is right before the bankruptcy happened between GM and Ford. One of the
Yes.
first things, a lot of people forget, one of the first things that Mulally did, he went to the Ford family, sat down with them in a conference room, and said, "Hey, ish is about to get real.
Hmm.
You guys, just like General Motors, are burning through cash at a rate of over $200 million within a business day in what you call it in employee benefits and support. I think I still remember to this day, Jeff. We were in college. I remember reading a report out of Detroit News saying that the head of HR for GM would go to lunch and come back and check insurance claims, and GM had spent 350 million in an hour. I was like, you're burning cash like that. Mullally saw that and was like, so he told the Ford family, because the I mentioned before, the Ford family has what's called Class C shares of their company.
Sure.
Ford went public decades ago, but the Ford family still essentially controls the motor company with what's called Class C shares. Like basically,
Right.
I think if my math serves me well, based upon how their structure is, for every one share of Class C is like equal to 10 to 15 or even 20 votes of a regular one share. So
Hmm.
that's how they kept that's how, even though the family owns probably at most 15 to 25%, their voting class shares still dictate that they control the company. I think Toyota has a similar, the Toyota family has a similar thing as well too. But
Hmm.
anyway, so he told the family, you need to sell the European brands that aren't doing ish, mainly Land Rover, Jaguar, and Aston Martin.
Hmm.
Sell them right now, get the highest cash available for you. And then what he did, he actually he suggested that Ford sell all of their property and then rent it back. The
Hmm.
family shot back and was like, no, because you forget that's also, we live on some of that estate. A lot of people don't know that the Ford family owns pretty much all of Dearborn that isn't controlled by the Muslims at this point.
Yep.
That's also a weird, fun political topic for a different day. But
Hmm.
essentially, the Ford family and the Muslim community essentially control Dearborn. The Ford family controls Dearborn by how much property they own, which
Hmm.
is, I think, majority of the city,
Right.
including the River Rouge plant. So they take pride in the fact that they own their plants, they own everything. So what Mullally instead suggested, okay, let's put them all up for mortgage. Take out the biggest mortgage loan we can get from the bank for everything, every plant we have in the US, take out a mortgage for it, while the banks aren't understanding what's about to come from their end.
Yep.
He did that, mortgaged the entire company. So when 2008 happened, they actually had cash in the bank. So if you remember, Jeff, when they went up to DC to ask for a bailout,
Yeah.
GM and Chrysler were like, "Yeah, we need money. We screwed." And then
Hmm.
Congress asked Mullally, he's like, "Well, Mr. Mullally, does Ford Motor Company?" Like, no, Senator. I kind of saw a little bit of this coming. I got cash on hand. The problem is that if those two go under and they stop, they also bring down our service parts, because we buy a lot of the same parts from the same manufacturers they buy parts from. And if
Hmm.
they go down, those parts manufacturers go down, and then we'll need more money after that.
Yep.
So I don't need money. But if they stop existing, I'll need money. And so it's one of the reasons why it also influenced the government to give GM and Chrysler the bailout because Ford didn't need it. They're like, we got it. And yeah, so when Mullally left, fast forwarding, after they got the balance sheet right, they were able to pay back all those loans and get all their property back.
Yep.
So it's always a thing of it shows desperation and it shows it when a company does that to sell their corporate headquarters and a lot of other manufacturing plants and then lease them back. What
Hmm.
they're trying to do is get the most money they can for their physical property right then and there. And then if the right person at the helm is the right person to lead them back into the black, what they'll end up doing is canceling the lease agreement and buying their property back.
Gotcha.
So this
Okay.
more so is it is it's a sign of desperation.
Yeah.
But and right now, to be honest, I'm not confident that um, Nissan has the best people in place.
Mm.
Uh, Nissan suffers from the Japanese. When we watch our anime, the Japanese show that they have a lot of pride in their business acumen and how they conduct business. It's
Mhm.
part of the reason why their suicide rates are up, to be honest.
Mm.
They work like honor is a big thing with them, and honor in not in oneself too, but also in what I'm working for or who I'm working for takes such high precedence
Mm.
that I think the funniest anime I've seen so far was 101 Days Zombie, where
Oh
the
yeah. Zom 100.
yes, that's it. The kid was so excited that the zombie apocalypse had happened because he wasn't able to go to work. He
Yep.
was like, I finally got time back to myself. I
Yep.
can do what I want to do. And then on top of that, too, society has collapsed, so I can really do anything I want to do. And there's no repercussions.
Yep.
I looked at that and was like, wow, that's eye-opening as to how bad their business, their life, their work personal life balance is
Yeah.
that this
Work culture.
kid was excited that the zombie apocalypse had happened because he gets to live his life again.
So it's funny that you mentioned that particular show because when I saw that first episode, I was like, oh, this is the happiest zombie anime I've ever seen.
Ever seen.
Normally, you're like, okay,
People are freaking out. They don't know what to do. They're
yeah.
losing their ish. I gotta
Mhm.
get this, that, and other. He was like, screw all that, man. I'm YOLOing this to the fullest.
Oh, yes. But yeah, no, it's so when I thought about that situation where Nissan had sold
Mm-hmm.
their headquarters, I was basically like, okay, if okay, maybe it's just me being petty. Maybe this is why I'm not a billionaire or something. But I was thinking if I were that company, like
Yep.
to go the additional mile to give them like the kick in the butt they need to keep their wits about them and become a better business. I would have
Yep.
rented their space out. Like I would have given them half of their space, like take half of your space away, and
And then
then
start renting other floors out to other companies. Like, yeah.
precisely. I would rent it out to other companies like, all right, see, this is y'all's fault. If you fix your stuff, then you can have your business back. You can have your headquarters back. This is your headquarters. How dare you let me buy it and give it to other people? Yeah, I'm petty like that. I would have been like the person to push them to get back in the black by making sure that they understood, okay, we cannot be in this position anymore. We need to do better. So,
Exactly. And
yeah, I know that.
To me, Jeff is also very frustrating. Yeah, you're talking to a person, you had your old Honda and I had my old Nissan Pathfinder.
Mhm.
You know, to this day, if I hadn't let my sister take my truck, and probably if you hadn't had kids a little bit earlier,
Mm,
it's fair to assume that we probably still have our Japanese cars from college out there because
yep.
quite literally, I mean, there was really nothing wrong with my Pathfinder that I couldn't fix for about $400. How bad was the Prelude?
So that's the thing. I had beat up on that thing for since the moment I got it. I got it in my sophomore year of high school.
Hmm.
All throughout my college career, I don't think I got more than 4 oil changes the entire time I owned that vehicle.
So Honda's notorious about like you don't. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I didn't change my oil. I didn't do my spark plugs. I didn't do the alternator the way I should have. I didn't do the battery the way I should have. The time that I started actually taking care of my car was sophomore year of college when I lived in those ratty behind apartments. Yeah,
Hmm.
so I was taking care of my car then, doing oil changes with the group and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
That point, when I realized how to take care of a car, when I removed my spark plug for the first time, bro, you should have seen it. It was an atrocity before God and man, but that car ran. That
Exactly.
ran from the time that I bought it until the time that I had donated it to Cars for Kids so many
Yeah.
years ago. It ran for that whole time. And then I think I ended up letting it sit because Cars for Kids, I was like, all right, guys, come and pick up this car. I'm donating it to whatever. And they were like, oh, yeah, we need this information, whatever. They got the information. It sat in my driveway for the better part of 3 months without doing anything.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I believe my battery died. That's the only time my car did not start the entire time that I owned it. So yeah, that thing was a monster. Honda, Nissan, all these cars. Your floor was falling out of your Nissan, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my Nissan, for people who don't know, I'm from Detroit. Um, that Nissan came from Detroit.
Hmm.
The weird thing about it is it only had about 78,000 miles when my dad gave it to me my freshman year of college. But I proceeded to drive it back and forth constantly back to Detroit. It drove anywhere. I think we went off-roading it, we jumped it coming down the quarry. The, you couldn't kill it.
Yeah.
And the body just the way Nissan used to be attentive to detail and how they over engineered because they over engineered things the same way Toyota and Honda did as well too.
Hmm.
Like it always flummoxed me as to why Nissan for a time it was always Toyota was still always number one, but it always kept going back and forth between Honda and Nissan as number two.
Yep.
I think the problem that Honda finally usurped Nissan as number two is when Nissan started getting really anal about things and
Mm.
how they made things. They weren't making profit on their over engineering.
Right.
Because like I said, with my Nissan, yes, the rear frame had pretty much broken apart. I had to get that re-welded. The floor had rusted out. I had to get a new floor welded in. The engine was always I never had a problem with the engine. All I did was just replace a lot of the rubber hosing and vacuum lines and the connection to the air box for the air intake.
Hmm.
Nothing was ever like I changed the spark plugs. Unlike you, I changed the spark plugs religiously on that thing. I
Right.
changed the oil religiously. I changed the oil on the transfer case, the oil in the transmission. I did regular tune-ups on it. The engine was solid.
Hmm.
I could I knew if I was going over 10 hours, I was going to take the Pathfinder because I knew it would get there and not break down.
Yep.
I think it only broke down on me. No, no, that thing never broke down on me.
Hmm.
And I hate to admit this, my Chevys have broken down on me a lot. I never had that Nissan break down on me. It blew a gasket and all the coolant spilled out. The temperature gauge went to high. I had the windows down with the heat going, and I still made it home. I I remember telling someone at the Nissan dealership, like, you guys have lost your way.
Mm.
There is nothing here on this lot that compares to either my grandmother's 1993 Infiniti Q45
Oh,
or my 1990 Nissan Pathfinder. You guys lost your way tying up with the French and letting Carlos Ghosn slash stuff and then have you guys focus on design. And then let's not even get started on that CVT. I
oh,
told my girlfriend who has a 2016 Nissan, not Armada, the Altima. She has a Nissan Altima.
okay.
And yes, I hear you guys comments I hear you guys comments right now about that Black woman Nissan Altima thing. That is turning also into a weird, terrible trope. But
Oh,
it still
shoot.
goes to show that Nissan now is nowhere near what Nissan was. Whereas Honda and Toyota, I could go to a dealership. If I had an old 97 Camry
Hmm.
and go up to the Toyota dealership, the new Camry looks more exciting. I'm so glad the young Toyota son took over because basically said that Toyota was making boring cars. Boring
Right.
cars still sold, but because they were still reliable. But the thing is, as exciting as the new Camrys look now, you can still know and look at the fact that that thing is just as reliable as a 97 Camry.
Absolutely.
Can't say that with a new if I drove my old Pathfinder up there to the new thing and looked at the new Pathfinder, I'm like, this is a joke. This
Hmm.
is trash. I want nothing to do with this.
Right.
Like this will not get to 300,000 miles like my Pathfinder did. It's
And
not. It's not. It's not going to happen.
that critique has been leveled at Nissan for the better part of
15
the past,
years
yeah, the past 10, 15 years. There's just been people have been telling them, and they've been basically ignoring it for
ignoring it.
whatever they decided to do with it. Like, I don't know who is running Nissan besides the president and all that kind of stuff, but whoever
Well,
is,
they're still tied up with the French Renault make French,
that's true. That's true.
and to be honest, I would
Mm,
the French,
mm.
man. The
So,
only thing I've ever liked coming out of France, automotive wise, two things: the Bugatti, which now the Bugatti is more German than French,
mm.
and then the Peugeot with that crazy hydraulic suspension.
Is
That thing
Renault
is a
French?
match. Hmm?
Is Renault French?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. Like the Renault has been trying to do some stuff recently. They got a couple of really nice EVs that they're starting to sell. So like I'm
Yeah, because that's where Nissan and them are still collaborating on with battery technology and whatnot.
okay, that's what happened there. Okay.
Yeah, that's what that is.
I get
Like
that.
I said, the Nissan Leaf was actually a good car, but that
Yeah.
was also due to French engineering. I really think Nissan really needs to take a hard look in the mirror and figure out what the hell they want to do and be. And
Mm.
they need to also get a person that understands their culture and then slaps them aside the face and says, no, you're not doing this anymore. The reason why Carlos Ghosn was able to come in and do that because he also knew Japanese culture and then slapped them around and said, let's not do this.
You know, I would say that renting out their office space would be a great way to motivate them. Hey guys.
It should be. And if
Yeah.
they don't, and like I said, this is like the first step towards the end. If they don't get it after this point, then they just, I hate to say they need to fall by the wayside because I would love to see Nissan succeed.
Hmm.
But the products that they've been putting out, I mean, the only really good cars they've had have been the 350 or the 370Z, and of course the GTR. But
Right.
even still with the Z and the GTR, they waited so long to update them. They
Yes.
waited so long to do refreshes and visuals. They
Mm.
waited so long to push better technology, better like I remember looking at a GTR from 2023 and like, there's no difference between this and a 2016 GTR.
Yep.
Just the price.
So it's that's interesting that you bring that up because one of the main critiques that Tesla was getting for a long time is that they would not refresh their models.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna have a hot take here. I did not care about the looks of the Teslas. What I cared about was the fact that they were updating the technology inside their vehicles the entire time. The 2016 Model 3 was different than the 2017 or 2018 Model
Oh yeah,
3.
no, the technology was. Remember,
Yeah.
Musk presents Tesla as not a car company; it's a technology company.
Exactly,
But
and they
no,
were
yeah, they were
constantly
doing that.
evolving. Yeah, so I like that. They were constantly changing and evolving, even if you couldn't see those changes. But I gotta admit, I do like the way the refreshes look. So maybe they were onto something when it came to, oh, this car needs to look cooler, look neater,
Yeah,
a facelift in order to, get people interested again. So yeah, I
but
understand that.
but that's the thing. That's how automotive tech. That's how automotive visualization works. It's like it's the automotive visualizations are like eating again. I'll go back to eat. Like people eat with their eyes first.
Right.
If it looks desirable, I will try it. If it doesn't look delicious, I'm not going to try it. It's one of the reasons why I hate going to an Indian restaurant. I kind of got to see what I'm getting before I get it because I don't know what everything is called. It's one of the reasons why I go to Indian buffets. I can see what I'm getting.
Hmm.
And then I was like, oh, okay, I tried this. I'll try this. I'll try this. Hey, this is really good. What do you call this? That way I know what it is.
Right.
Same thing with automotive. If it doesn't look visually stunning, if it doesn't look different than what I've been used to, I'm going to ask you, what's the difference?
Right.
Um,
Okay. No, that's fair. I do that point made a lot more sense because like in my head I'm like I don't get why people, but yeah, no, if I do eat
yeah,
with my eyes, the lettuce
you're
is
thinking
wilted.
engineer, and I'm thinking engineer who also has to engineer salesman. That's where me and you always will balance each other out at. You and Daniel always thought engineering. I'm thinking engineering too, but I'm also thinking, all right, great, we've created something amazing. How are we
Mhm.
going to sell it? You
Right,
can't just
right.
you can't just assume that people are going to be smart because people ain't.
Mm,
And then it's like, oh, the technology. No, does it look great? Case in point, I was at a car show.
hmm
My Masonic Lodge hosted our first ever car show.
hmm
I was talking. We partner with a credit union here that's kind of new in Alabama. Um, One of the guys who came out, white guy, he didn't know cars.
hmm
He was asking me, he's like, "What car is your favorite?" And I was like, "Well, I'm a GM guy, so I love the Camaros, and the late '80s Camaro was great, but it kind of sucks technology wise because that was during the gas crunch era. So it looks fantastic. It looks like it should go fast, but the engine in there is a horsepower starved, emission centric when they didn't know how to do emissions in the late '70s, early '80s.
hmm
The motor in a 1978 Camaro is trash. If I had a 1978 Camaro and I had like a good $30,000 to just spend, I'm LS swapping the hell out that motor and putting a better 6-speed transmission in because I love the look of it. But I know for a fact its technology came from a time where the government said you have to meet emissions and MPG regulations, so they just starved that V8. You have a big hulking piece of metal that only gets 150 horsepower.
Right.
So
Okay.
the technology in there is terrible. So, but it looks so great. That's one of the reasons why Michael Bay picked that Camaro to be Bumblebee. It looks great. It looks like it should go fast. It doesn't. It looks it though. That's why the Corvettes from that time suck. Like they also have the same choked emissions choked V8s, but they look like they would beat you going 200 miles an hour. They can barely get to 100.
Mm. So, oh, I guess the wrap up here
Yes.
is the people that bought Nissan's area, Ninth Motors, I think it is.
Is it? Oh, is it a real estate company in Japan?
It's a Mint Group. The Mint Group is who bought them. They're a Hong Kong-based company. But anyway,
Oh, they're Chinese.
a Mint
Oh.
suggestion to help Nissan get back on their feet. If you are so inclined, rent out their office space. It'll piss them off, and then they'll get.
Oh, there's nothing more worse than pissing off a Japanese person than having a Chinese conglomerate come in and start taking up space,
Oh shoot,
talking about
we.
how we're gonna give once you guys go under, we're gonna give this office space over to our Chinese
Right,
automotive manufacturer. Talk about ego checking. That'll piss somebody off too. It's like, no, no, the hell you're not.
right.
Because to our viewers, if you didn't know, the Chinese and the Japanese,
They don't get along. They don't.
they really they tolerate is probably the best. And if
Yeah.
you want to know more about that, look at the atrocities they kind of did to each other during World War II. But
Right.
even
Oh,
before World War II, they
yeah.
eh,
Yeah.
those are two Asian cultures that just don't get along.
Oh, boy.
That's why I was always surprised. One of the other things I knew that Nissan didn't know what the hell they were doing when they hired Johan de Nasser, who was his claim to fame was that he was the one who took Audi and forced Volkswagen to let it operate as its own company within the company.
Hmm.
And one of his biggest claim to fame was that he forced Audi to change their nomenclature. You used to have the Audi 3000, an Audi 6000, and
Right.
now what are they called? They're called an Audi 6, an
Right.
Audi A3, an Audi A4, so on and so forth. He got rid of the extra three numbers and said, just call it that, and then redo everything. But he also moved the headquarters of Audi out of Volkswagen's headquarters group and moved it somewhere else.
Hmm.
He tried that two other times. Once with when Nissan hired him to run Infinity,
Right.
he moved Infinity to Hong Kong. He
Hmm.
moved Infinity,
That's
Nissan Japan's luxury arm, to Hong
yeah,
Kong.
to China. Wow. So I don't know. I feel like if it didn't motivate them the first time, will it work this time? I don't
Well,
know.
no, that was someone internally doing something stupid. They didn't understand the culture, and
Okay,
then
fair enough.
making a mockery of it, and then making it worse.
Okay.
And then it took them forever to kind of undo it. At which point, because I remember when he did all that, and I always hated him because he thinks that process works wherever he goes. Because remember, he did the same thing when General Motors hired him to run
I
Cadillac,
I
and so
do.
that's where all the names went away. You stop calling him. You know, a lot of people forget the before Cadillac has this weird CT6 everything.
Mm.
Cadillac initial names actually used to mean the name names. Remember, you
Yeah.
used to have DeVille, and then they shortened it to DTS, which stood for DeVille Touring Sedan,
Yep.
and they went SLS and STS, which meant Seville Luxury Sedan or Seville Touring Sedan. A lot
Hmm.
of people forget what the CTS stand for. That was Catira Touring Sedan.
Yep.
The initialization meant because Cadillac like Lincoln, there's certain thing to a nomenclature of a name. That name invokes it is supposed to be luxurious. And this I'm getting to another tangent too, just but the name's supposed to mean something. The name's supposed to be able to differentiate the brand. But ultimately, uh, yeah, and then on top of it too, he moved Cadillac's headquarters out of Detroit to New York. And if a lot of people don't know this too, you know, we were founded by a French explorer named Cadillac. In
What?
fact, Cadillac's,
Wait, no,
yeah,
you dropped a bomb on me. I did not know. Hold up. I'm
I
fact
told you
checking
that,
this
Jeff.
right
The Cadillac family crest is the Cadillac symbol. Like,
now.
look it up. Yeah, I forgot what the French explorer's full name is, but it was one of those
Yeah.
long French
Holy
prints.
crap.
Yeah.
A French explorer that went to Michigan and founded the company in 1902.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Hmm.
the company was founded in 1902, named after him.
Right, right, right,
Like
right.
like I said, you have French explorers who founded Cadillac, founded Detroit. Mobile founded the city of Mobile, Alabama. And
Okay.
I forgot which French explorer founded New Orleans because he came from Orleans in
Hmm.
France.
Okay. I see that my mind is a little bit blown right there because technically not even American car companies started off American car companies. Like what? What is happening?
No,
What is going
I
on?
mean, Chevrolet is French. He was a
Yeah.
French racer who
Hmm.
started his own company. He
Yeah,
just
yeah,
got
yeah.
suckered out of it. His true story is tragic too.
I knew
Point being
that one
is,
though.
point being is that ultimately Nissan needs to figure out what the hell they're going to do.
Yep.
Their hubris and their ego stopped them from being bought up by Honda because Honda once they went into that memorandum of understanding, they
Hmm.
peeked into their books and it was like, oh, y'all don't know what the F y'all doing. And it
Hmm.
is apparent. Nope. This will not be a merger of equals. We will buy you out and you will be a sub brand under us.
Yep.
Nissan was like, no, we are not a sub brand. We used to go toe to toe with you. It's like, yeah, not anymore.
Or
Not anymore. Y'all, those days are gone.
oh goodness. But yeah, no, I do remember that Honda merger situation and how they're still trying to work together with Honda even
Because
now.
they
Like
need
they
somebody. They need
yeah, they
somebody.
need
And then
somebody to help
Mitsubishi
them.
and Mitsubishi is like trying to leech on and trying to figure out what they can do next. And that brings us to another thing with Mitsubishi.
Mm. They
When's the last time you saw a Mitsubishi dealership, Jeff?
When's the last time I saw a Mitsubishi vehicle is the better question. Not only have
That too.
I not seen the dealerships, I haven't seen the vehicles. I've seen a total of two Mitsubishis the entire time I've lived in Colorado Springs.
Oh
The entire
wow.
time. Yes, it was Mitsubishi Galant and it was a Mitsubishi Lancer. It wasn't even a
Wow.
Land Evo, it was just a Lancer and it
A
was like
regular Lancer.
a 1980s.
Because if I had a Land Evo, I'm not taking that for anything because
Right.
one good sneeze and that thing will break.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw a Gallant and I saw a Lancer, and those are the only ones I've seen. And I've seen those two more than once, but I've never seen more than just those two. So yeah, Mitsubishi is in a bad way too. Just they're much less public about their in a bad way situation because Nissan, you can't hide selling your headquarters. You can't. You just can't,
Somebody
you
can.
can't do it.
But the difference that Mitsubishi is in versus Nissan, Mitsubishi has always focused on their electronics department
Hmm.
and their Fuso Mitsubishi, their
Right.
heavy industries, like their trucks.
Yeah, their
Their
trucks,
electronics and their trucks are still pretty freaking good.
they make
And
refrigerators.
yeah, that too. Like I said, their electronics department.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what props the automotive part up is everything else.
Yep.
Kind of like how, yeah, like there's an article out we just saw as well too, talking about lead. Mitsubishi is like once again trying like, okay, yeah, we kind of need to get serious about it because now our losses are starting to pile up to where we're negatively affecting Mitsubishi Holding altogether.
Hmm.
Like they kind of just let us slide because the trucks and electronics are doing their thing, but now we're affecting bottom line. So
Hmm.
okay, kind of need to get serious again.
Yeah.
Because Mitsubishi
So
to me has always been able to make great vehicles. They can engineer I've
they,
often believed they can engineer with the best. That includes Nissan, Honda, and Toyota. But where they skip out so hard is quality.
yeah,
Like
oh
they
my,
will make a great, fantastic engine and then put it together with
everything else
tin
is,
foil.
yeah, yeah. So I remember the reason why I ended up getting my first car as a Honda instead of as a Mitsubishi was the fact that we went to the dealership and I got to try out a Mitsubishi 3000 GT. And
Really? I think
yes,
that's like the best example of fabulous engineering and terrible build quality.
it stalled out on us 2 times while we were trying to get it out of the lot. And my mom was like, "Nope, you're not getting this one." I'm like, "I don't want this one. This is bad."
I
And
would have
so
loved to have a GT, but
it
to
scared
have a
me.
3000 GT, you've got to have like a good amount of just extra income to
And
let
pay
it sit around and break because it's sitting, it's going to break.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I went to go test drive it, did not work out. The next car I got into was my Honda Prelude, and I got that car because it was reliable, it was peppy enough, and it was fun to drive. So yeah, that went down in history right there. But
Because that's the thing, the Honda Prelude did technically, well, kind of. I think the more Honda Prelude Type R went against the 3000 GT, along with the Nissan 300
yeah, it was
Fairlady twin
the
turbo.
four-wheel steering version of the Prelude is what was head to head with the
Yeah, wasn't that the Type R?
So the four-wheel steering was different than the R. The R was like a beefier version, like a better
Because that the
engine.
V6.
Yeah, it's a better motor and it had the four-wheel steering. That car was no, you're right. It was actually face yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the Type
For some reason, I was thinking the four-wheel steering was
No, they didn't. No, the Type R had everything.
yeah, it
It
had
had the
all
four-wheel
the
steering. It
exactly.
had the high output V6 with the VTEC. I
Yep.
think their first iteration of VTEC was in that V6.
It was the second iteration. The first iteration was in the first Civic that was VTEC tuned. That was the
Oh, that's
first
right.
one,
That's
and then
right. That's right.
they
That's right.
moved it to the Prelude. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah,
Anyway.
like I said, the Prelude and the 300 GT, the Nissan 300Z,
Hmm.
those all went against the 3000 GT. And granted, the 3000 GT was engineering wise the better car,
I agree.
but build quality wise was the worst one out of all of them
Not so
because
much. Yeah, exactly.
you could beat up on the Prelude, you could beat up on the Nissan, you could beat up on what was Toyota's
Uh,
uh
ooh,
I can always it's always on the tip of my tongue what Toyota's
there,
foray was or
hmm,
whatever it was. Uh,
Supra, wasn't it?
Super? Was it the Super? Yes, yes, it was the
Might have been
Super.
the Supra.
You
Yeah.
could beat up, you could dog all three of those out. They would whine, they would maybe blow something here or there, but they were still reliable enough that you could go back and fix them. You
Right.
dog the Mitsubishi 3000 GT out, you ooh,
You
you're
got to
gonna blow
rod through
something
your
major, and it's gonna be a major fix.
yeah. You got to rod through something that shouldn't be through, and you yeah yeah.
Oh, and that happened a lot.
Oh goodness. But yeah. So next topic here. Toyota is MAGA. What the banana, sir? I
Did you see the picture?
I saw the picture, and you when you told me about this pre-interview, I did not believe you. And I was like, there's no way. There's no reason. What's the reason for this? My brain hurts because I don't understand the disconnect of why this would happen.
You still haven't gone back and watched that South Park episode. I think episode 2, where all the CEOs are lining up at the White House to give Trump trinkets and whatnot. They're paying
Okay.
homage to the king and to make sure that whatever tariffs or whatnot he enacts is not enacted on their company. So I think
Right.
with Akio Toyota doing this, this is to appease Trump, like all the other CEOs are doing, because there's no reason that you're at the Fuji Speedway, of course, highlighting American culture, car culture, and you're in a MAGA hat with a Trump Vance "Make America Great Again" T-shirt, like all just because apparently it looks like he's doing it as a not to, as this article here on AutoNews.com says, a not so subtle appeal to the U.S. ambassador amid trade tensions and a new $10 billion investment in Toyota's U.S. operations. So, in other words, um,
Didn't that $10 million
Toyota,
dollar investment already get approved? I think they're just trying to hold on to it because I remember them talking about a $10 billion dollar investment during the middle of Biden's era.
yeah, but apparently it didn't go through. So, or they
Okay.
didn't do it just yet. So now they're trying to implement it during Trump's administration. And with all those tariffs, I mean, $10 billion with that high tariff on Japan it could be a lot less.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, um, all right.
So yeah.
That's
So
disturbing.
once again, and I know we're not trying to be political with this, but it really, I hate to admit that this administration, that reach
Mm,
still shows that one, America really still is the big dog on the planet, with China being close number two. If foreign CEOs
hmm.
are going to these kind of lengths at their own at their own tracks in Japan to kiss that man's ass.
See, here's something that I think is the distinction and why this is occurring the way it is. The people that do business with the US in any sort of voluminous terms, they are
Yeah,
all more or less capitulating.
yeah,
The companies that are more nebulous, like Chinese companies and things like that, that don't do a lot of business in the US necessarily, Chinese automotive specifically, they do zero business in the US.
that's true. We won't let them.
They
And
could not
good
care
Lord,
less. they haven't done anything to kiss the ring or anything like that because they don't need to. They know
Don't need
that
to.
you know what you can be over there. You can be your little cute dictator stuff. You can do that over there. We're just gonna go
Whatever. I
ahead
don't
and
care.
keep dominating the world. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that is the distinction. Toyota does a ton of business in the US, just like Google does, just like Amazon does, just like every company that is either based in or does business with America, they've all more or less done that. And so
Hmm.
it's weird to see Toyota doing it,
Very, very,
but
very, very weird.
but
Even
yeah.
the comments on this article are like, everybody's like, what?
What? Is this real?
Toyota,
Did we
like
AI
that
this? Yeah.
Kia is doing this? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, this is weird.
So
I don't like it. I don't like it. But yeah, that's
yeah,
just
that's weird. That's
wild.
weird
Okay.
because you don't see Japanese executives, especially Japanese automotive executives, try to kowtow to American politics.
Yeah,
That's unusual.
very unusual. Speaking of unusual, we have our fourth and final topic of the day. EV sales were up 51% year over year with respect to the fact that the tariffs, not the tariffs, the EV tax credits were ending as of
Hmm.
September, the end of the third quarter of this year.
Yep.
So the sales exploded like we all expected.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, we
Um,
talked
I
about
was
that.
I was not expecting 51%. I was expecting 25, maybe 35%.
Yeah, I didn't think 51, but that shows that one, the tax credits were that was a
Effective.
good thing.
Yeah.
It was sparking sales within the US.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. Uh, that's a big number.
It is. So when I initially came across that information, when I heard the the number, I had to think for a second about whether or not, like, I was trying to contextualize where exactly that information was coming from and what it was being compared to. I thought it was being compared to maybe the previous couple of months or maybe earlier in the year.
No, just year for year.
Yeah, year over year is the same section of the year, previous year, and I was like, that seems
That's a big jump.
that seems huge. And just imagine what would have been if we'd continued to adjust and grow the EV subsidies for the needs of the people. Because, like, even the tax credits as they existed in a way that made it fairly difficult for people with a certain level of income or people that are buying certain types of cars
Yeah,
to get that tax credit. And so
yeah.
just imagine if we had expanded it to motorcycles or expanded it to e-bikes or well, there were some states that expanded it to e-bikes, but
Yeah, some states did.
yeah, expanded it federally to include all vehicles, incentivized efficient vehicles, like what we would have already more or less transitioned over. Every country that I see nowadays that's like, oh, we hit 50% market penetration on EVs. I'm like,
I'm
that
gonna
could
say,
have
because what country were you looking at? Was it Denmark? Let's see.
Norway or it might have been Denmark. Let me see. Um, let's see, Norway.
Well, China, of course. But China's subsidy is it is right, it's Norway.
Yeah. Oh, yep, there we go. 95%.
Norway leads the world in adoption on a
Yep.
per capita basis.
So this is gonna get into my what do you call it? American exceptionalism brain. I'm putting on my America hat real quick.
Okay.
So I believed wholeheartedly, I still believe wholeheartedly that we could have been the primary innovators in this space. We
Of
could
course.
be Norway right now if it weren't for the fact that we were getting in our own way. Every time I see another country hit 50% market penetration on EVs, I'm like, man,
Why not us?
now we're 20th place, now we're 25th place, now we're
Yeah.
70th place. So yeah.
And it's not for lacking of good EVs outside of the F-150 and stuff. Like, to be honest, I've told this to you several times over. I have two V8 gas guzzling vehicles. I have a Trailblazer SS and I have a Monte Carlo SS.
Hmm.
I love the V8, but I would totally have traded both of those in to get a Hummer, the Hummer EV. I love that car, and I was actually thinking about doing that for my birthday in October or going to November, December for wait, what was it? Truckvember?
Truck Vember. Yeah, Truck Vember.
I was actually thinking about doing that until the tax credits. I was fully prepared to go ahead up to. I would have actually told both, like, bought both my vehicles up to either the dealership here or probably the dealership in Nashville. I think, or Atlanta. One of those two would have given me a better deal. But I would have totally brave is just like, hey, here's two Chevys. Give me the GMs. Give me the Hummer
Hmm.
because it was still a GM vehicle. It was still within the realm of a GM layout that I know very well. I would have felt comfortable in there. And we've talked about this in the last podcast. The or even not even the Hummer, the Silverado EV,
Hmm.
um, the kind of range that GM's platform, because they built their truck platform from the ground up.
Hmm.
Uh, just phenomenal. But now because of that, that's a getting $10,000 off like that is a big losing that tax credit is a big deterrent. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe I want to sit on it for a little bit longer.
So it's funny because this shows another difference in how we think about vehicles in general, but specifically electric vehicles. I have a guilty love for the Hummer EV because it is a really, really, really cool vehicle. I cannot, in my brain, envision a world where I actually get one because I am wired towards efficiency. Like, I like small, peppy, efficient. I want to go as far as I possibly can on every single drop of gas or every single electron. And like,
Yeah,
even with that mentality in the back of my mind, I'm like, but the Hummer EV is kind of cool though.
exactly. Like I said, you get your Aptera and I get the Hummer. I mean, yeah, you're going to get a longer drive out of your Aptera than I ever will with the
Right,
Hummer.
right, right. Oh,
But
but
at
I
the
don't
same
have crab
time,
walk.
huh?
But I don't have crab walk, so I mean,
No. And mind you, if me and you were both pulled up in the parking lot with those respective vehicles, one, I think how we're built, how each of us are individually built physically,
hmm.
it's going to look more apt for you to get out of an Aptera than me. People are going to look at me as like, how'd that big black man get in that small little car?
So it's so funny because every time I see the Aptera as a concept, as a vehicle, I'm like, it looks tiny. People that are looking at that vehicle for the first time, you're like, it hurts my brain. I won't be able to fit in it. And then I saw a video that they did at a CES, I believe, where
Uh-huh.
this guy, 6'5" or something like that,
Oh, yeah.
big burly dude, like big man. He sat in the Aptera and was like, I am surprisingly comfortable in this car. I don't understand how I'm fitting in this vehicle.
Because
And
the looks can be deceiving. It looks
exactly.
smaller on the outside. I always give it that.
See,
Uh,
that's another dichotomy. The Hummer looks are not deceiving. It is
oh
gigantic.
no, that's exactly the thing. And
That's
you
the,
get in there, it's like, yep,
yep, that's a big
this
point.
mine need to be here, and Jeff needs to be sitting all the way over there against the wall. That's
Yo, when
it.
okay, so I have seen the Hummer EV in life and I've sat in one at a GM
Oh, the
dealership.
GMC dealership.
I reached my hand over to try and touch the seat of the other vehicle, like not the seat itself, the headrest.
Yeah.
I my like the tips of my fingers could touch it if I was sitting in my seat upright and reached over. I could like twiddle the fingers at the I could barely touch it. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
this is big. This is a lot.
That's a big car.
Yeah. So yeah, it
So no, there's no looks to deceiving. No, that's as big as it is.
yeah. But yeah,
So like I
man.
said, no, but but still, even with the like getting back to the tax rate and everything, like those kind of vehicles, I wish we were being able to sell more of as well too. Like I always say General Motors is what they're doing right now. Hell, even with the Cadillac Celestiq, that tax credit applied to that $400,000
Yes, it did.
Cadillac.
Yes. It was funny to me
Not
because
that if you can afford a $400,000 Cadillac, you needed it, but
you did not need it if you had
that'd
four
be
hundred thousand
nice.
dollars to
If
it's
I was worth a couple million, walked up to the Cadillac dealership, like, yeah, I want this Cadillac Celestiq. They're like, oh, wait, Mr. Justin, we saved you a bunch of money. It's like, huh? What'd you save me money on? What you cut out? What you did?
okay.
What can you give me? I
I'll
was like,
save this
oh,
7,500 for
tax
some cigars.
discount.
Oh shoot. But yeah, no, it okay, what is happening? Sorry,
What's
I've been
up?
getting messages from my campaign team this entire time. So
Oh,
I've
okay.
been mitigating the wants to look at the phone, and I looked at the phone and I shouldn't have. But yeah,
That's
so
my phones are over there.
yep, see, I'm gonna just chuck it out the door next time. The kids will be like, "Your phone's in the hallway." Leave it right there.
They're right there.
But yeah, no, it's so cool to see how even in the current climate, the sales for EVs are still robust. 51% is a one-off, and I don't think it's going to happen again anytime soon. But yeah, I just like seeing that technology wins, like good tech wins. So yeah, I want that trend to remain. I like the way that things are still progressing. Solar, wind, and all that kind of stuff, EVs, all that kind of stuff. It's still happening,
Yeah.
albeit slower in the US, around the world. So, yeah, it's really neat. Let's see. You got any final thoughts for the gearheads out there wanting to transition their way to EVs?
Uh, Well, put it like this: the only reason why that keeps consistently stopping me here,
Mhm.
as some of our viewers know, you're in Colorado Springs and I'm in Huntsville, Alabama.
Right.
Um, I guess once we steal Space Force from you and bring it down
Oh
here
my
to
gosh.
Huntsville,
Right.
um, my problem is the just if you're looking at getting an EV, make sure you live in this. Make sure you live in a city or an area that has the adaptivity to charge your vehicle while you're on the road.
Mhm.
Huntsville still doesn't really have anything. To be honest, the best charging places are either at Mercedes's dealership here on University,
Mhm.
or Bucky's we opened off of I-65.
They put charging stations in Buc-ee's.
Oh hell yeah! Dude, I'm about to ride up there on my bike. I will send you a picture of
Please
how it
do.
looks up there. It's actually impressive. Like
Yes.
they have like 10 stations up there. But then again, you've been to a Bucky's.
Yeah.
Bucky's is known for like it's got 300 pumps up there. So yes, they have the space. It's like, oh, we're not using those back parking rows. Let's call up Tesla and put like 20 charge high speed charging stations back there in the back end of the parking lot
Hmm.
after you pass all the gas stations. So you do have to go around a bit to get to them, but when you get there, it's 20 spots.
Hmm.
So yeah.
That's pretty cool. Well, yeah, keep that infrastructure together, folks. This has been phenomenal. I might have to split it into more than one episode, but thank you guys so much for watching through. This is the Ninjaneer, and do you have a pseudonym, some kind of name that you like to call yourself, sir? I just call you Malcolm because you're my buddy, but
I know. The only kind of nickname I've ever gone with has been my silly DJ nickname from high school, DJ Elmatic. So Elmatic, I know some of my social media has that. My Instagram, my YouTube channel as well too, my Twitter, Elmatic '05. You know, the funny thing, the reason why I call myself Elmatic as well too. What's GM's transmission called?
Formatic, right?
Hydromatic.
Hydromatic. Oh man, we got too many Matics, man. I got you mixed up with what do you call it? Like Benz or something. I think they got a Formatic.
That's formatic for their all-wheel drive system.
Right, right, right.
So for me, Elmatic was shifting between the ones and twos. So I'm shifting between the one turntable number one and turntable number two.
That is really cool. I didn't see. I'm learning stuff all throughout the podcast, even about my best friend over here. That's outstanding. The ones and the two. Good job, dude. That's
Hey, yeah, I thought about it in the sense of how would that sound if I actually did have a DJ career. And so, are you familiar with? Because you're from Oklahoma City, Jeff. You
yeah.
guys had your hip hop radio station had like the 5 o'clock, some kind of 5 o'clock traffic jam where they would like hip hop. Now, for some of our kids who are probably listening, who are Gen Alphas, uh,
Oh no.
so you used to like when we were kids and getting to high school, when you got to 5 o'clock, they had what's called the 5 o'clock traffic jam, meaning a DJ, an actual person, was mixing a live mix on the radio for the better part of an hour while
Mm-hmm.
you were stuck in traffic going on. So
Yep.
I know Oklahoma City had to have that. I know Detroit had that. And so I remember whatever that guy's voice is who does a lot of he's that deep voice who does the radio announcements. I forgot what his name is, but he always does all the hip hop stuff. But
Uh,
he said like shifting between the ones and twos on your daily traffic jam home.
yes,
I
yes.
was like, huh. So I thought of that. It's like, so GM shifting between the ones and twos. So if I GM's transmissions are called hydromatics. So if I'm shifting between the ones and twos, I should call myself L-matic.
Mm-hmm.
Because my name is Malcolm Jessup Jr. My dad's nickname is Big Mac, so I was always called Little Mac.
Mm-hmm.
So L-matic,
Yep.
and then that's what it
Fair
was.
enough, man. See, you get the inside story here on this particular podcast. We got this man with the turntable. I need you to come to this podcast with turntables at some point in the future.
I need
That
to get some new turntables. I've always rented or borrowed some other friends of mine. I don't know if you remember Sherelle Dublin. She does DJ. I borrowed her stuff before. She was in college with us.
no, I remember the name. I'm trying to place her face.
If I show you a picture of her, you know what I'm talking
Yeah, I think I would.
about.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, Malcolm, for being the phantasmic individual you have always been. Catch you guys next time. See you soon.
Definitely, guys. Have a good evening.